Hello, friends. It's Nancy from Astrology and Angel Mediums today with another weekly check-in reading for the week of February 2nd through February 8th. So this is from Sunday today through Saturday the 8th. I hope everyone's been doing okay and that new moon treated everyone well. And I just want to wish a blessed Imbolc for those that celebrate as we see things shifting and changing. So let's see what we have as a collective for this week. So what do we need to know? We have the Page of Materials reversed. All right, what do we need to do as a collective? We have the Seven of Pentacles reversed. All right, now let's see, what do we need to release? We have the Magician reversed, and then what do we need to contemplate? We have the Sun reversed. Okay, a lot of reversals this week. So we may feel like things are not moving in the direction that we want, or we may still feel a little bit of like this kind of slowdown. I know like January felt especially long. I don't know if you guys felt it. I mean, I was like really busy regardless, and I still felt like it was not like, I don't know, all 31 days were felt for sure. Okay, so what we need to know, right? We have the Page of Materials or the Page of Pentacles here. So perhaps this week, maybe we're not seeing a lot of progression when it comes to the physical aspects of our lives. So whether that's with money, whether that's with career, opportunities, there may be a sense of like things aren't really transitioning or shifting in the ways that we want. So maybe even like with our physical health, because I feel like Pentacles also rule over the physical body. So if you've been wanting to make some changes or shifts with like your physical health, as many people do at the beginning of the new year, there may be a little bit of a lack of feeling like things are really taking off, or maybe there just hasn't really been as much of a shift or a change with some of the things that you have initiated. Now, when I think of the Pentacles or the Page of Pentacles reversed, I almost feel like maybe we're like wanting to kind of go out into the world and explore in some way, but there's a hesitation. There's something that's either holding us back. Maybe we're just not seeing a lot of opportunities available to us at this point in time. So what we need to know is that maybe it's not so much an opportunity for us to be trying to go outside of ourselves or outside of what we kind of see as like our normal or what feels comfortable for us. When I think of Pentacles energy, I feel like it's very much, you know, like being at home, routines, our schedules, kind of focusing on those elements more so than anything else. So I think with the Page of Materials reversed here, as far as what we need to know is perhaps a reminder that maybe the grass isn't always greener on the other side, or this is not a week for us to be focused on what we feel needs to change or what needs to shift or how that's going to look moving forward. So there is a little bit of this like slowing down, because I feel like Pentacles energy is also very slow. It's not very like, there's not a lot of momentum. I feel like it's more rooted, it's more grounded. It takes a little bit longer for us to see the progression and things kind of shifting and moving. So I think with the Page of Materials here, it's almost saying like, hey, we need to kind of take a step back. Maybe what we need to know is that we need to kind of reflect on what opportunities are we chasing after? What sort of things are we trying to show up for? What does it look like for us moving forward? Especially as, you know, maybe we need to be a little bit more strategic. We need to make a little bit more of like a firm plan as to what it is that we're trying to kind of do. And I'm only saying all of this because then we also have the Seven of Pentacles reversed for what we need to do. Now, the Seven of Pentacles reversed is typically a card of like waiting for results, kind of like, us really focusing on all of what we've done, our dedicated efforts, like, really looking at, where have we been planting a lot of our seeds, like what's actually been kind of rooted and growing for us. And again, it's a little bit of this kind of slow down energy. So perhaps right now is not the time to kind of focus on what am I doing now that has been growing and trying to tend to it so much. Maybe it's more of like trying to seek out the balance and kind of look at the previous card, the Six of Pentacles energy, and kind of looking at how we can kind of reconnect with others, how we can kind of give and receive and kind of be a little bit more aware of what we actually need and are we receiving it. And I think with the Page of Pentacles, I was going to say Page of Materials, and then I was like, what is the Page of Materials? The Page of Materials, reversed, it's almost saying that maybe we need to kind of focus on like what makes us feel more established and safe and connected and rooted in our lives, and also recognizing what we've built before we try to kind of move into the next thing. And so maybe this is just talking about looking at the reflection of everything that we've accomplished, everything that we have perhaps, focused on, all of our goals, things of that nature. So I think it's maybe given us an opportunity to kind of like check back in and see what it is that we're trying to do as we kind of move into the energy of this year. I know that there's a lot of stuff kind of going on, and so many of us are maybe feeling hesitant to kind of set down a little bit more of a foundation in some ways. And maybe we feel like, well, what am I doing? And what is this going to look like? And how is this going to grow? And how will this potentially change for me in the future? So there is a little bit of this kind of like back and forth that I'm kind of seeing between these energies, especially with like what we need to know and what we need to do. Now, if we move on to what we need to release, we have the Magician reversed. And I think that this is kind of saying that maybe we have been wanting to perhaps manifest something physically. Maybe we've been really focused on what is that going to look like? What is that going to feel like? This, that, and the other. And I think the Magician reverse is kind of saying like, hey, you can only do so much. We can't control how something is going to turn out. We can't really dictate how those things are going to land in our lives and when they're going to come into our lives. So as much as you may be putting a lot of pressure on yourself to say it has to look this way, it has to be this way, I think the Magician reverse is kind of saying like maybe we've kind of forgotten and we have disconnected from how truly powerful we are. And so we're getting this invitation to kind of say like maybe we have to like let it go and stop feeling like everything has to be back in our hands and like we're the ones that have to do everything. And I feel like especially having like these two Pentacles cards beforehand, maybe we've been feeling very isolated, very like this is all on me. I need to figure this out. I need to kind of get this together. So I think La Bruja, or the Magician reversed here, is almost saying that maybe we've been lacking a little bit of maybe spiritual awareness, or maybe since this is what we need to release, maybe we've been too like tuned in into it. Maybe we've been trying to focus too much on like how this will look and how this will feel and what will happen with this energy. So I think La Bruja, or the Magician reversed here, is kind of an invitation to kind of say like, let's just kind of take that leap of faith. Let's move back into the lessons of the Fool, of just kind of like being a little bit more receptive to, I will just enjoy the journey for what it is, not so much what I think is going to happen and how it's going to look. So I think with the Magician reverse, especially for this week, is that maybe we're feeling a little bit uncomfortable with what we're capable of accomplishing. Maybe this is a reminder that like we are all spiritually connected, divinely created beings that have so much magic within ourselves. And I think that it's a beautiful reminder of all that you maybe have forgotten within yourself. And so I think that this is what we need to release, as far as like maybe we have forgotten that we do have a lot of not just power, but also the ability to create what we want in our lives. And we get to kind of dictate what that will feel like and look like for us. Not saying that everything that we have in our lives will be exactly as we would like them to be. Life is, full of so many different emotions. We're here to kind of feel the full spectrum of them. And I feel like this card is kind of saying, like, hey, like, you've got to let go of trying to have things look a certain way or feel a certain way, or maybe even just like forgetting that maybe all of the tools that you already need in order to create what you're trying to create are like they already reside within you. And I think that this is almost saying, like, we got to let it go. We got to let go of this, like, hey, it has to look this way. Or, yeah, I don't know. As someone who is a little bit of a control freak, I get it, because I have been in like this, I want this, but how's it going to look? Or how can I do this? Or, how can I approach this while also trying to honor like my own, like my human design and my astrological placements and my transits. But sometimes it's, it's nice to have an awareness of that stuff, but it's also like sometimes you just have to kind of dive in and just do it. So maybe we have to let go of this need of having it be perfect or feeling like, well, I don't even know what it's going to look like. Sometimes we just have to kind of dive right in. And I think the Magician reverse this week is really saying that, especially given that we have the Seven of Pentacles reversed, kind of pushing that energy, saying, hey, stop trying to have it be so like defined or whatever, or you're just like, I'm not ready. I have learned something, I guess, on my journey here on earth the last like 40 plus years of really just saying fuck it sometimes and just kind of diving in and just doing it, even if I don't know what I'm doing, even if I don't have a plan, even if I am freaking scared to kind of get out there and do it. So I think that these cards are kind of saying, like, maybe a lot of us are just really in our heads. I think that this is very Aquarian kind of energy anyways, where we're maybe overthinking, we're over processing, we're getting a little bit stuck in our heads about what this is going to look like for us moving forward. Now, finally, what we need to contemplate is the Sun reversed. Now, this one to me, I think it's interesting because I feel like I've pulled this card so much for myself the last few weeks, where it's like the sun, the sun. And I don't know where you guys are living, but like where I am, it's been pretty cold, pretty frigid. And it's been kind of dreary, which isn't very common for where I live in Colorado. Colorado is kind of known as like a state where there's a lot of sunshine. I think they say an average of 300 days per year of sunshine, which I love. And I think that this is almost like kind of saying, like, even if you can't see it, even if you can't feel it, just know like it's there. And maybe it's an opportunity for us to find a sense of what really truly brings us internal joy, what brings us that warmth. How are we showing up? Can we allow ourselves to shine in some ways? With this being reversed, is that what we need to contemplate is maybe the internalized lessons in this. Like, how can we find things that make us happy? How can we focus on things that make us feel a little bit more connected to us and how we can shine? So I think that this card is really just essentially kind of like that invitation to kind of say, all right, we got to kind of like remaster these lessons within ourselves, these lessons within, our current life. And especially maybe this week, we may really feel like we need to find something that brings us joy, regardless of what that looks like on the outside. So I know for me, with everything that's been going on, I've just tried to really focus on things that make me happy. So that's like listening to music, reading, watching things that I enjoy. Like, I'm trying not to be so tuned in and plugged in to the things that feel very chaotic and out of my hands. I'm trying not to feel so like helpless in the situation. And I think the sun is a reminder of this kind of energy of like finding the things that allow us to shine, finding the things that allow us to kind of have a little bit of fun and enjoy things for what they are without making it super complicated. So I think that this week, all this like energy is kind of pointing towards us. It's kind of saying like, hey, maybe this is a week to be a little bit more introspective, to kind of take some time out to really like check in with ourselves and see why we've been pushing so hard towards certain things, or why we feel like it has to be, you know, us continuously making progress and not really following and honoring the seasons within ourselves too. Nothing blooms all year long. And I think some of us tend to forget that because we're so stuck in this, like, I got to do this and I got to do that and I got to do this and I got to do that. So I think with the Magician reversed as well, it's almost like giving us this opportunity to say, what are we focusing on? Like, why do we feel like we have to have it right? Without really understanding that everything that we do, there's always a way to make it better or to fix it. And I think sometimes we forget that. And I think the Magician reverse is kind of saying like, let go of it having to look a certain way in order for you to feel like you're doing it right. Sometimes the way things look and feel is a little bit more significant versus like how we think that they should look or feel, if that makes sense. So if you're in the middle of something and you're like, okay, I really am enjoying this, I really I'm having a good time with this, I feel like I'm in flow, even if other people don't understand it or if other people don't approve, it's not really what we should be so focused on. And I think with the sun, you know, reversed here, kind of saying like, this is what we need to contemplate. We need to contemplate like what makes us really, truly happy, what makes us feel connected, what makes us feel like we can actually, you know, enjoy the warmth of life, and how can we allow ourselves to really, truly shine in this energy. So I'm going to just pull an elemental empath card so you can see some oracle guidance for this week. Let's see, what do we got? What do we got? So we need rest. I feel like I keep pulling this card for us. We need to slow down. We need to connect to nature. We need to calm our system. And I think that's generally where a lot of people are feeling. I think so many people are feeling so exhausted, so tired. We've just been pushing. We've been pushing and pushing and pushing and just going and feeling like there's not a lot of time for us to really honor our bodies, what we need, and what's going on with that. So I think that rest is kind of here, again, as a reminder of like, how can we reconnect with our physical bodies? And I think, again, we have the Page of Materials reverse, the Seven of Pentacles reverse. These are both very physical cards, kind of saying like, hey, we need to kind of tune back in and relearn our magic and find our shine again, our sparkle, so that we can truly kind of move into the energy of this year. So I think that it's extremely significant and important, if possible, and if you can, take some time out to rest. And rest isn't just sleep. Rest can sometimes be, you know, taking a break throughout your day, taking some time out to do something that's restorative for you, whether that's like stretching or a bath or an activity that feels like relaxing to you, something that feeds you in some way. That's also a significant part of rest, I feel. And I think sometimes we forget that. We don't always pay attention to that energy. I'm also going to pull a daily intentions card. So let's see what we have here. Okay. We have hope. I think a lot of us are looking for that. The beacon of hope shines brightly within me. So I think that a lot of us, not just here in the US, are kind of wanting to find that beacon. And I think with the sun reverse, we're kind of given this opportunity to kind of say the magic within us, the warmth within us, that's really going to be the light that we kind of share with the world. And in order for us to really move into this energy, we need to kind of find time to honor our physical selves so that we can have a sense of hope and redirection and kind of show up in the ways that we need to. So I think hope is here as a reminder that we have to take care of ourselves, and in order for us to move into the next thing, the best way that we can kind of show up for the collective is to take care of ourselves individually first and honor what we need first, kind of like put on your oxygen mask first before you try to help anybody else. We have to kind of give ourselves what we need initially so that we can kind of move into the next thing and not feel so caught up in the chaos that is the current status of everything here in the world, because it can feel very scary, right? But I think the thing that humans have been able to do through millennia is having a sense of hope. I think hope is a driving force that can't be purchased. It has to just be an initial flame that we find within ourselves and allow that to be the driving force. So maybe this is a week to kind of take some time out, reestablish like who you are, what you want, what you need, and then looking for those little pockets of hope of, okay, I see the potential for this to be something that is not quite so jarring or challenging or difficult. And I know it's easy for a lot of us to say, you know what, I would much rather not have anything to do with what's going on and check out. And you're allowed to do that, but maybe find your hope, if that makes sense. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I want to say that I appreciate you guys watching and looking at the things that I post. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a fantastic week. Please take care, stay safe, and as always, make good choices. Bye.